If you were to ask any of my peers what's been on their minds lately or what's been stressing them out, you would hear, my grade in AP Calculus, the test I have next Monday, or getting into the college of my choice. Students are faced with extreme performance anxiety, leaving them no room for social interaction, which is what ultimately brings the most satisfaction and contentment in life. My peers, and in all honesty, myself, run from assignment to assignment with hectic schedules and the obsessive monitoring of a live gradebook. Our hearts pound and hands tremble as we walk into quizzes we are always overly prepared for, but yet for some reason can never live up to the unattainable standards we set for ourselves. We struggle to see the forest for the trees. Sure, academic validation is real and extremely pressing, but not being able to properly communicate with one another is an even greater issue that cannot be measured by grades or numbers. Hi, I'm Gilderman, and to combat this issue, I wanted to introduce a social-emotional learning curriculum into my community, starting with students from a young age. I'm a senior at Miami Country Day School and have grown a deep passion for learning, understanding, and showing others their true brilliance. I truly believe that everyone has a unique light within them. They just need to be given the proper tools to see it. I noticed a common difficulty amongst my peers in the upper school: communication challenges, whether it be in basic, simple day-to-day interactions or when facing pressing real-world issues. Communication is the cord that connects all of humanity. It intricately weaves our society into a web-like structure in which people are made to feel loved, safe, lifted up, and appreciated. Humankind would not be where it is today without the sharing of thoughts, ideas, and emotions through words and writing. But even the simple, "Hi, how are you?" has gotten lost in the cracks of our education system. When you are walking by someone, are you expecting a hi, a hello, how are you? Or have we as a society lost our most simple and important skill: communicating with one another? I noticed that students were discouraged from participating in discussions, not because they didn't want to or because they didn't care, but rather because they didn't know how to. And so I thought, let's teach them, and doing so starting at a young age. You see, it's all linked. Although a student not saying thank you to someone for holding the door for them may not seem like a big deal, it is usually blown off with the phrase, kids will be kids. This is actually a sign of missing social-emotional learning education. These skills should be introduced to students at a young age so they can navigate and develop their lives with the knowledge of communication. And so, I began my fieldwork in the Miami Country Day Lower School. Here, students play and learn with smiles on their faces and often toys in hand. They play together between vibrant walls and in safe spaces. The environment is uplifting, and the promise of a bright future is palpable. You can feel the excitement they have for learning. Take Alex, for example. He's a 5-year-old in one of the classes I work with who has trouble sitting still. He would interrupt with his own ideas and objections or noises and outbursts in energy. I worked with Alex and his peers to really teach him skills of patience, self-control, and how to control their thoughts as they translate into physical actions. By doing so, I was able to implement tools into their toolboxes that they can employ throughout the rest of their lives. But this type of learning isn't something graded, like a math test or an English essay. It can only be measured by close interaction with the students and observation. As a class, we would wander beyond the walls of the classroom to explore and discover. I answered questions about our environment on the playground and about injustices throughout history displayed on the walls on campus or in the library. In class each morning, we would have morning meetings in which the students were prompted to properly greet one another while holding proper eye contact and saying, "Good morning, how are you?" Even though the students didn't quite understand why we especially emphasized they look at one another in the eye, you could see how seen and connected it made them feel. Being able to properly greet their mentors, peers, friends, teachers, and future employers while holding the proper eye contact is a skill that will open so many doors for them throughout the rest of their lives. But understandably, it's difficult for students at such a young age to control their impulses. I mean, how many times have you all been accidentally insulted by a baby or a young child? So, to combat this, I divided the class into 3 different groups that appealed to their interests: the unicorn group, the flower group, and the rainbow group. I then held up one paper at a time, displaying an image of one of these groups. The students belonging to this group were able to dance, get up, laugh, and play, while the others had to sit quietly in their seats. This taught them skills of patience and how to truly wait their turns. To continue learning beyond the walls in the lower school, the Jewish Student Union and I introduced an activity based on the novel Hannah's Suitcase. The students were able to relate to Hannah as she too was a young child. We worked to understand the repercussions of discrimination as it related to Hannah and the horrors she faced in the Holocaust. The young learners explored the items found in her suitcase that she brought with her to her aunt and uncle's home after her parents were sadly taken by the Nazis. This activity may have brought up feelings of sadness and confusion for the students, but together, through mature dialogue, in a positive and controlled manner, we worked through these emotions. I'm certain that these young learners are now able to navigate their lives and look to the world through a new lens, one of understanding. I'm also certain that these students will not only grow up to become strong leaders and communicators, but that they will one day make a true difference within our society. The awkward middle school age, full of braces, new pimples, and finding oneself, is definitely a weird time. I mean, at least it was for me. So I'm currently working with an extremely influential teacher to help students to unapologetically be their true selves and promote every aspect of their unique identities. The newly created group, called Empower, encourages students to celebrate both themselves and others with bravery and strength. In this group, made up of various identities, we have honest, vulnerable, and of course, respectful conversations. Students are prompted to listen, think, and then respond to one another in conversations that are nuanced and may be extremely difficult to navigate. I'm sure you all are very aware of the awkward middle school age that is truly inevitable. But by teaching students to appreciate both themselves and others, all while being able to properly communicate with one another, we can help to minimize this awkwardness. The upper school, my current home, is where I first saw the issue of a lack of social emotional learning. Students were leaving classrooms without thanking their teachers, were discouraged from participating in discussions, and honestly, we're just lacking basic manners in simple day-to-day interactions. I knew that my peers needed to face critical issues hands-on. They needed to meet them in an interpersonal manner and see them through their own eyes. They need to touch, taste, and feel these issues away from iPhones or the classroom bubble. To help bring this tangible experience to my peers and my entire community, I partnered with Shadowlight to bring a replica of a World War II cattle car onto campus that was used during the Holocaust to transport victims. This was a 360-degree immersive experience that students were able to actually physically step into. Visuals and sounds surrounded the students as they were able to gain a better understanding of the history and its true importance. They were able to do so through their own eyes and away from screens or the classroom bubble. Students leaning into difficult topics and making connections leads to growth. Flashing images of the detrimental treatments, sounds of crying children, loud machinery noises, adults and children shrieking in fear of separation, brave words from Holocaust survivors, and finally, piercing silence as the experience came to an end. The powerful silence brought on by this experience allowed for my peers and my entire community to navigate their emotions around it as they re-assimilated back into society after facing such triggering and difficult information. By bringing the cattle car onto campus, I was able to bring my peers and my entire community to this challenge. And so, I will leave you all with this. You come home from work, tired, and your child greets you with a hi, how was your day? And end the night with a thank you for dinner. They look at you in the eye while engaging in conversation. You can feel a sense of ease and appreciation rather than one of apprehension. They listen to you, maybe another sibling, and everyone at the table while they wait their turn to speak. Something feels light. It feels connected. Conversation dances around the table, and you can feel the calm flow. This is one of the many gifts of social emotional learning. The widened perspective gained through this type of learning allows for us to appreciate our unique identities and creative imagination. By getting past the barriers of one's mind, we can truly engage in richer human connection and a deeper understanding of our world. Thank you.